Hello, everyone. This is JD Calderon, and this is Indy Comics Explained. And yet again, I brought another fantastic group of international indie comic book publishers and some national. It's going to be fun like that, right? So, without further ado, please hit like, hit subscribe, share out the video, let everybody know we're here. And we're going to bring in this guy.
Yes, I love being part of this international cast tonight. I'm part of the great nation known as New York. We stand alone on our own island. And, we fight off anybody who tries to step on our toes, stuff like that. But what is up, Streamland? I am JD Rosario from Unstoppable Comics. Been making books since 2008, hanging out with a bunch of creators tonight who have been putting their money where their mouth is and making comic books on their own. You want to start bringing them up? JD, let's go, baby.
Let's go.
Oh, I'm first?
Yes,
yeah.
Sir.
I like it. Hi, guys. How you doing?
We're good. We're good, Rich.
What's up, Rich? How you doing, brother?
Do a quick intro.
For me or for you?
Yes.
Okay.
For you.
I'm joking. Hey, I'm Rich Davis. I'm a writer-creator of the new upcoming book, Reign of Dracula, which is the third volume in my World of Dracula series. I'm doing my first ever Kickstarter to hopefully pay for the book so I don't have to pull the money for my artists out of my own pocket.
Free to be.
Yes, we know how this feels, sir.
I bet you do.
What's up, Doran? Please.
It's Doran Corkum up here in Canada, in Ottawa. I'm creator of Whitefire Comics, and I've been doing this for way too long in the shadows. So I've come out onto Kickstarter about 4 years ago. I'm on my fourth one now. So yeah, just dancing along.
Nice. Now, Doran, if you don't mind me asking, how long have you been doing it?
Oh, since I was a teenager, literally. But at home,
Give me
like
a
the
year.
characters I'm bringing. I'm
gonna ask you
the
the ages,
90s, late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, so I gotta finally cap it in the back, and that's what made me start bringing it out.
Gotcha. No, I started self-publishing in '92.
Oh, okay. So I haven't been self-publishing all that time. I've been just working on my comics quietly, and that's what I've always done in my part-time, really.
Gotcha.
Been my hobby.
Right, cool. Yeah. I mean, I started in the mid to early '80s, but I was in my teens,
Nice.
like I was a kid. Jesus. I miss the '80s. Anyway, what's up, Anthony?
Hey, how are you? I'm Anthony Christou. I'm an artist and writer of the Luminous Ages comic book series. And I'm from Australia, if you haven't noticed with my accent. Yeah, and I've been doing I've actually, on my 22nd Kickstarter right now, I have a Kickstarter live. It's the Book of Monsters, the third volume. It's a horror anthology. It's called there's a third naughty book called The 9 Sexy Tales of the Kitsune, with two Japanese Asian style monster anthologies. But my series has been running probably since 2016. And I think I did my first comic as a teenager in 1997, my own book in high school. And that was my art project. And that got me an A+. So that was like, nice. I knew that's what I wanted to do from a kid, from a teenager. So yeah, now you all know how old I am. So anyway.
There you go. Like I said, Doran and myself, we already aged ourselves. So.
Yeah.
Oh, there you
go. All right. And we have Zackary. What's up, brother?
Hey, what's up, guys? Wait, can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Yeah,
we can hear you.
Can
you hear us?
Oh,
we can hear you.
He's the first technical difficulties. Does he win a prize?
Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
He's clicking buttons. Look at him go.
Yeah.
There we go. He's doing his work. Don't worry.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Yeah, I can't hear you. I'm going to have to restart the laptop for 1 second because I think the laptop, that's what happens when you have Apple Mac.
Gotcha.
We'll be here, Zackary.
Yeah. Pop out, pop back in. We'll bring you back in. Don't worry about it.
He can't hear us. So go ahead. Yes, pop out.
Give him the thumbs up.
Yeah,
he's got hand signals going.
I feel like I should have been given baseball signs.
Oh yeah,
live television.
The Macarena? Why are you gonna do the Macarena?
All right.
Yeah. All right. So, gentlemen, let's let's start with we're short Coco and we're short one guest, but I guess they'll both be in a second.
It's all right.
So, oh look, wait a second, hold on. We got somebody.
There you go.
What's up, Aaron?
Nothing much. Sorry I'm late. I was actually trying to speed through the freeway. I finally got here. So.
All right. So, Aaron, introduce yourself, please.
Oh, my name's Aaron Humphres. I'm the artist, writer, illustrator, creator, everything of Knocked, my new comic Knocked, and I did the Godlings graphic novel, which JD's read, and I do children's books too. So I do drawing, writing, the whole thing, pretty much.
Cool. All right, so gentlemen, I don't know if you guys saw the title of the show. Is like, why are we as indie creators even doing this, right? So, right. So, what I want to hear from you guys is, what were your original plans, right, when you first got into this? It doesn't matter whether you got in yesterday, 10 years ago, 50 years ago. Like I said, I've been in it since '92. You know, Doran says he's been in it for a minute. You know, it doesn't matter. Like, what was your original intention? What were your original intentions? Now, and then there's also, as I guess most of us all here are writers, and I don't know, you know, how deep you guys are into it, but you know, there's what your character says, and there's a subtext thought, right? So there's always the hey, hi, how you doing? Right? When you see somebody you don't like, hey, how you doing? Right? And you're just in the back of your mind, you're thinking, I hope that guy dies. Right? So that's the subtext to you know, to that line, right? So I'm gonna ask you, what's your subtext to your original plans? Because we all have these ridiculous concepts and ideas in our minds that we might achieve, right? So I'm gonna ask you what those are. And hold on, we got somebody else. Zackary, what's up, brother? Can you hear us now?
What a hell of a first impression, man.
All right,
We're talking about looting you and everything, man. It's like,
Oh,
Exactly.
dude! Apparently, the Mac laptop I have is like the outdated one, and I bought this when I went to the Cuban school. So like now it's telling me I can't update to catch, you know, like make it up to date. My Adobe Photoshop won't update to the current stuff. They're like, oh yeah, you got to buy another one. I'm like, oh yeah, because who has money for a laptop like that? Like,
especially a Mac, man.
yeah.
You know, listen, we only judge you on the fact that you're on a Mac. It's okay. So, but Zackary, please, real quick, do an introduction for yourself.
So, for everybody who doesn't know me, my name is Zach. I am a graduate of the Cuba School. I've been 3 years out. I broke the record being at the school for having the congregating the most Cuba School students while self-publishing my very first graphic novel, or any kind of published work for that matter. And then I crowdfunded my book called Voyage in Kickstarter when I got out during COVID. And I've just been, you know, doing a lot of metal band covers and just doing a lot of, you know, commissions on the side, but trying the crowdfunding scene as I go on. So, yeah, that's kind of me in a nutshell. I'm, you know, unfiltered to the max, and I'm just here to make comics.
Yeah.
All right. Nice. All right. So look, I'm gonna get back to this question. I'm gonna try to make this quick, but it's not gonna be easy.
Yeah, I don't know,
So-
because you were adding layers of subtext to this. I mean,
Yeah,
how
I know.
many-
I
How
was.
many
I
answers
am,
do you want
I
for
am.
this one question, buddy?
I am. All right. So there's your ridiculous, and there is what are your goals now? Like what
Okay.
why are you doing it now? So it's what's your original intention? What's your subtext to that intention? And then what you're thinking of it now? And I'll answer it first, right? My original intention was just to create work and put out my comics and create a universe of stories and characters, because that's originally when I got into it, that's what I wanted to do. I had a whole bevy of superhero characters. I was 18, 19 years old, and I was like, oh, there's Marvel, I could do it too, whatever. And then the ridiculousness that went along with it is I thought by this point I'd be a billionaire and I'd be owning Marvel Comics. And then
You're not?
what, right? No. And then but then there's now
come on the show.
right. Yeah, exactly. You know, now look, I would have invited you to draw Spider-Man if I was owning it, right? So, but now my intentions now are to complete. I have a story, a long-standing story. I have a couple of them, Tall Tales, and I have the Oswald Chronicles. And my real intention now is to complete those series. That's the one thing that I really want to do, is complete them, because they're long stories. The Oswald Chronicles, I'm 1900 pages into it, and I got maybe another 1,200, 1,400 pages to go. Right. So my intention is to complete that story. The same thing with Tall Tales. I'm 28 issues in. I got maybe another 12 to go, and then that one will be complete. So that's my goal now. It's just to complete. Right. All the hopefully all the childishness, or at least that craziness is gone. So all right. So let's start with Zach. Where you're at, bro?
My intentions when I first broke into it was to just draw comics in general. I knew exactly what I wanted to do with my life in 5th grade when I picked up my first comic book and read it. I was like, that's it right there. That was so just drawing comic books for that matter. And then when I got into the school, it changed the direction, and I want to do like the mainstream stuff. I wanted to make my own characters, my own stories, and I was always world building. And while I went into the school, I was always just hauling ass, just getting it as done as I was the only student in my grade basically that was working on his own OC while everybody was doing Spider-Man and Batman and their narratives and whatnot. And then when I got out of the school, I think my intention and the way I go about doing things now for my expectancy is because I got a 2-month-old daughter now. I'm now grinding.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I'm grinding as hard as I can just to do comic books. I think my outlook on how I view the industry has downgraded a lot because of a lot of the issues that goes on and the things that I see in comic books in general, but I don't let that stop me. If anything, I kind of like, well, you know what? I think this is a moment for my own story voyage to come out into the scene. Like, it's a perfect opportunity. So that's where I'm standing.
Okay. All right. Cool. Doran, what are your thoughts?
Oh, boys. All right, you ready for this? So back in the day, so it actually started out, so I always loved comics and I always drew, and I came from a very creative family, like just crazy creative family in a lot of ways, like, but very different, not artistic a lot. My grandmother was. But then I got into Dungeons and Dragons, which was considered really evil at the time. But anyways, I became a DM and I started writing stories, and I was drawing the characters and I was designing the maps and I was doing all this stuff. So all of it just kind of worked out being from a creative family, and then transitioning into this kind of writing and then drawing and designing. As Zach said, world building to me is huge. I've been doing it, for quite a while. My worlds are quite in depth, and I got tons of characters that are just sitting in the filing cabinets. So the unrealistic part of it was I thought at one point I'd be an artist at DC. At one point, I remember applying for it and then realizing it. I gave up before I finished the application, actually. But that was the dream for a while, was to even get to there. But back in that day, it was a way different time. There was no internet. There was no, you literally had to mail it in, and you had to submit a bunch of stuff. So it's been a long journey. But what happened is that I came from a very poor family as well, and eventually now I'm in a spot in life that I'm doing okay, and I can take some risks. And so I went back to the filing cabinet, and I've been kind of reorganizing stuff and trying to figure out which direction to go. So that was my goal right now, really, was to figure out which way to go with what storylines, because I have a bunch of them. So that's where I've started with the Forsaken Future, and then with Raquel is my first two starting spots. So that's,
sorry to interrupt. Forsaken Future, what is that?
It's a sci-fi series. It's your typical post-apocalyptic, but it's a little bit different in the sense that instead of the world getting destroyed, which typically happens in a lot of these, it's only North America that gets destroyed. And instead of the rest of the world coming to help us, they don't. So
I like that name.
Thanks.
I could just picture an entire continent of Canada laughing at us. Ha 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 ha.
Oh yeah. Oh no, Canada's gone. The whole continent's gone. Mexico.
Oh, Canada's gone. Oh, poor Canada.
Yeah,
they can't escape our fate.
Yeah. We laugh.
Can you change it that? Can you change it that only Australia comes to help you?
Oh, I'd say yes, but it's too late now. Maybe something happened to you guys as well at the same time.
Oh no! Oh crap!
But that's pretty much it.
Anthony, what are your thoughts?
Oh wow! I think because I've always been an artist. So what's crazy is in high school, I was saying before that my first comic book was in high school. It was called Lords of Zenekai, which was like a sci-fi meets meets fantasy. And so I always had this thing. I love sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. And, you know, as a kid, you're growing up, you think, I want to own Marvel one day, similar sort of thing. Or I wanted to be like a Todd McFarlane and Mike Mignola. And I think that still is my goal. You know, that's kind of get to that name that I think my dream is make a movie out of what I've done or turn it into an animation or something really big. But it's a lot of hard work. And as I'm now like 4 books in, I'm realizing I still want to use Kickstarter, but I'm also looking at a publisher because I need a bigger reach, like a bigger audience. I'm finding that even though I've run 22 Kickstarters, the audience changes, it either shrinks. You know, some people stay with you for years, some people don't. And so for me, like ultimately, I wanted to be like a Salvador Dali because I paint. There's a lot of paintings behind me. There's a painting over there. I do a lot of paintings, and art's a big thing. But I'm realizing, even now with the advent of artificial intelligence, I think the age of famous artists is gone. Like as in fine artists. I think there's going to be no more Salvador Dali's. There's going to be no more Picasso's. I know we've got Banksy, but not everyone knows who Banksy is. So I think the only way you're going to get famous, my goal is to be famous. And the only way you're going to do that, I think, is becoming a storyteller. And comics is the perfect avenue for me. It's not just about the fame as well. I do love comics. That's where I started. Like I said, my first major high school art project was a comic book. And so for me, I still have these big goals and visions, even though I know there's a lot of challenges and I'm like working my ass off like everyone else is. And I think it's just you work and you work and you work and you hope something eventually gives way. I do have some family, I won't say the names, but they've made it big in Hollywood. And they're Aussies that made a horror movie and it's gone viral. So they're an inspiration to me. And I'm thinking if they can do it by going on YouTube and making these funny videos and then making a feature film, which has gone crazy in the US and America and Australia. It's not like I can do it, but it's like, well, it can happen to anyone. Dreams can come true. And they even have said that in their speeches that if you do work hard, and I think it's about being adaptable and being able to change. That's why I've done so many things. But I'm always coming back to comics for some reason. I'm always finding that's my passion. You know, that's really is the core of what I do. I'm an artist, yes, but I think I'm a comic book creator first, you know? So yeah, that's me. So
I respect that. Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Rich, what are your thoughts?
Man, I just wanted a way to work through my nightmares. I'm serious about that, dude.
That too as well. All right.
Hell yeah, bro.
Since I was a kid, you know, it runs in my family. I have these very vivid nightmares, these waking dreams, and I'm awake inside the dream, and it's a sleep paralysis thing, and you know, it's like the dreams, they come into my world. I see shadows, I see people walking, and I needed to deal with that. And comics, they were a great way of doing that. I found out, you know, I've worked in theater, worked in film, worked in radio. I've been a playwright, been a screenwriter. I've tried writing prose novels, and it's not me. It's not my style. But I really kind of, writing a comic script really kind of resonated with me because, you know, I get to write in pictures, and these pictures are what I'm seeing in my head. And so, you know, it's been really cool. You know, I'm working with Reign of Dracula. It'll be my 4th comic book series. Cult of Dracula was my first. It was a top 50 best-selling comic of 2021, released by SourcePoint Press. Followed that up with Rise of Dracula in 2022. It did very well. Then I shifted gears, went to Prometheus in Chains, which is in comic book stores everywhere now, from Red 5 Comics. And now I want to tie up my Dracula saga, put that nightmare to bed so that I can move on and tell some more stories with some different characters. So I'm really excited to be doing my first Kickstarter. It's a little weird to me because I'm not familiar with how it works. But the more I do it, the more excited I am about it. I really see how, you know, this can be a really excellent way to kind of connect with a real audience, you know, because you can find people who are really interested in your stuff. You know, when you put your stuff in previews, you don't know who's gonna see it. I mean, it's a little tiny paragraph like that, you know. And, you know, if a store's going to order it or whatever. And then when it gets to the store, you don't know if that store owner is going to, carry your message, carry your book to his customers or her customers. So, but with Kickstarter, you're really connecting to the people that are already predisposed to want your stuff because, they're finding you for a reason. So that's been really cool. I'm experiencing some of the highs, some of the lows with it, already, but, it's something I'm excited about and intend to do more because honestly, producing a comic without crowdfunding is fucking expensive, man. I mean, with Prometheus and James cost me 25 grand. And I won't see a penny of that until probably sometime next year after the trade comes out. So, it's insane to do that. And I just really can't do that anymore. If it's like, you got to think about the reality. If it don't make dollars, it don't make sense. So, if this Kickstarter doesn't do well, maybe I move on and do something else. I don't know.
Gotcha. All right, cool. I mean, listen, we got Aaron in the house. He can draw it.
I feel you, dude. I'm $4,000 out. I'm pretty much penny. This is my third try launching my campaign currently right now, and I'm just not having any luck cracking at it. It's really just having a big following. You got to be a name that people know, and it's a pain. And I really wish you the luck, man. I hope it does work, because that when it doesn't fun and you do all that work, you get that sting at the end. You're like, damn.
Yeah. I never expected the social element of all this, of the Kickstarter side of it. I never saw it coming. And I didn't realize how many creators there were in the world. And it was amazing just to get in here. You know what I mean? I was like, where are all these people coming from with all these comic books? I'm searching everywhere. And I'm like, what the heck?
When you see 300
insanely cool.
When you see 330 campaigns running on Kickstarter concurrently, all right now, it's insane to think about it.
Is that happening right now? Is that wow?
Yeah. 330 comics.
I was talking to someone in Australia, and they're saying we've even got 15 or more projects running now in Australia alone, and we're a small country. We've only got 24 million people or something like that, and even 15 projects is a lot because I think last year might have been half that. You know what I mean? So,
and that's only on Kickstarter. You're not counting Indiegogo. You're not counting Zoop. You're not counting.
What's that comic book one it's a crowdfunding just for comic? Fund My Comic.
GoFundMe.
You're not counting Backer Kit, which is now doing comic book funding. Their social element is I don't want to say more akin to Facebook, but there's a lot more community on the Backer Kit website than there is on the Kickstarter website.
Really?
So it's a lot out there, guys. It's a lot out there.
Digest. Yep.
Yep. Aaron, what are your thoughts on the question?
Oh, why I got into comics. Why I first started out getting into comics, to pick up women, because that seemed like the most legitimate way to score in that area.
The
didn't work. Weird, huh?
No, you've got to be.
I don't get it.
Be an artist. It's an artist. It's not comic book. You just got to be an artist, okay? Be a visual artist. That's the best way, man.
I've heard so many reasons why people break into comics and whatever. That's a first, dude. What's up, baby? Did you just pick up that recent issue of The Death of Gwen Stacy? Pretty hot, right?
It works. I think I got my biggest influence growing up in the 80s was Saturday morning cartoons. There was something about the storytelling and that idea that anything could happen. There was such a diversity of weird stories, just weird things. And comic books seemed like the only way I could tell those type of stories. I mean, I was a kid that played with the G.I. Joe, but I made up stories with the action figures and the toys. Yeah. So when it came to comics and I started getting into drawing, it seemed like, oh, I could do the same thing here. And I've been doing it ever since. My goal was always just to get my book on the shelf in a comic book store. I just wanted to see my book on the shelf. And I've actually done that. So in a way, I've actually completed my goal in a way. And that's actually come to a point that now I'm really not sure. I enjoy doing it, but making a lot of money or making a ton of money, it was never my thing. I mean, I got more out of talking to my friends because I was in high school. A lot of my friends drew comics, And so we could all get together and talk. Like I think JD had this. A lot of his friends drew comics and stuff. And so there was that sort of community that was thriving. And so there was never in the back of my head like you could make money out of this. I just wanted to do my own thing, and hopefully it got in. And to me, comics are hopefully a stepping stone to other money-making avenues I can make money. But sometimes when I actually pull money into my comic, it's because people like, we need to do this to market, do this to cat. I'm like, no, I don't want to do. I want to do my own stuff, even if it means it fails. I think that's why I just right now just kind of put my comic on my store and just call it good. Also, I just don't have the physical time to do much more beyond that right now. We just got a puppy basset hound, and that thing, oh my God, puppies it's like having a kid. It's like trying to keep that thing from tearing the house apart sometimes. Oh, so yeah,
that's why I get a cat. I don't even bother with dogs.
Oh yeah,
that's why you adopt a senior dog. They're
right,
super chill, and they're very appreciative. So yeah, get a senior. Let somebody else kill the puppies.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I used to do a page or two a week, and I can't get through 2 in a month. Now I'm like, this dog better grow up real fast. So
that's what my wife said about me when we got married. She's like, "Oh my God, I just got a new husband. I got to break him in. I got to train him. I got to keep him from peeing in the house.
Yeah.
You know, things like that."
You get locked out in the air lots.
Oh man, I've actually like drawn around him, and he hasn't torn he likes to rip up mail, but he hasn't ripped up my books yet. But actually now I'm like, well, why isn't your book done yet? The dog.
Yeah, don't wait for it.
So yeah.
Yeah. But you better scan fast. It says the dog tore up the pages.
It is, right?
Quick.
Yeah.
Yep.
No one's gonna believe you.
I know. I think right now I just have so much fun making this stuff and making the stories. I have ideas and things I want to do, but I think right now being an army of one is just, it's either I focus on making the books or the marketing and the business, and I can't do all of it together. So I think right now I'm just focusing on the art and making it, and hopefully what I can do in the marketing that will be good enough to break through. Because I'm just spinning in circles, and it's like I notice if I focus on too many, it deteriorates. I'm like, well, if I make the book as good as I can, then hopefully the other stuff will maybe follow suit, and that's right now. So yeah. But it's,
you know, honestly, if you guys are all interested, I have this book called "Fuck the Algorithm." It's an ebook, and it basically breaks down exactly how to gain a following in quick, and it's super effective. I've been practicing it on my own, and it does work. It's legit.
oh, that's okay.
Yeah, like it tells you how it breaks it down on Instagram, TikTok, and not so much in Twitter, but it's really those two that it focuses on. And I think Facebook.
Don't you mean X?
Yeah, X.
Oh.
Sorry, it's
like,
always Twitter, right?
It's dude. I thought it was a porn site when I saw it.
I know, really.
But
no, that's the sequel.
morning.
When he gets the third version of X, then it becomes a porn site.
I see what you did there.
If you guys
got that,
it's an upgrade.
If you guys want, put your emails in the private chat. I'll email you guys the ebook. And it's 200 pages. Like I said, it's super, super effective. Let me in a month and a half, I had a following on Instagram, 1,300. A month and a half of practicing those methods, it brought me up to 2,050 followers, basically.
Okay.
I am.
Way to be on that.
Seriously, double. So Jay, what are your thoughts, brother?
Yeah, you know, no.
Sorry, I've been watching
what
Office Space.
everybody was saying here. You know, yes, world domination was definitely a big thing, but but like Aaron, you know, I am a kid of the 80s, right?
Yeah.
G.I. Joe was everything. G.I. Joe was affordable, and today he was Spider-Man. Tomorrow he was Captain America. The day after that, you know, he was He-Man. My imagination just it flourished that way. When I was younger, I did make an attempt at doing the internship at Marvel because I'm a New York guy, and then when I found out it was pretty much working for free when I was already doing 2 jobs, you know, and I had bills to pay, that went out the window, right? You don't come from a poor household and work for free. You got to contribute to everybody else that's here. So that definitely went out the window. but the idea that there is a not an immediacy, but you can put out a book without so many chefs in the kitchen ruining the recipe, right? In almost every other form of media, there's levels, right? And it takes forever to get out a song or a show or a movie, right? And with a comic book, well, in 2 weeks you can have a 6-page, 8-page ash can, and you could go around with that, like it's your resume. And then you get addicted to it. You get addicted to the whole, oh my God, I completed this thing. Whether it sells or not, forget about that for a second. You completed something, right? I've still got laundry from 2 weeks ago that I haven't put away. For me, you think I'm lying? I'm looking at the fucking bag right now.
That's what the next comic's about, putting laundry away.
That story's already been done. It's been done. It's called The Never-Ending Story.
It's called The Never-Ending Story.
That's what those
Great
things are supposed
movie.
to be flying
And
around
everybody's
with the
singing
big-
that theme song right now.
Yeah.
It's in my head. I could see the two singers too, on German television doing the live version of it. But you get addicted to it. You get addicted to being able to complete something. You get addicted to watching your catalog grow, and you're like, "Oh my God, I've done all of this. I've done all of this." And then you go further and further down the rabbit hole, right? And next thing you know, you're doing 3 live streams a week, right? Trying to push your material, and then trying to come up with more material so you can feed into the live stream, and it snowballs from there. You meet someone who only marries you so she could get into Comic-Con for free, things like that.
The same thing happened to you. I thought I was the only one.
Aaron's thing worked out.
Exactly. It does work out. There's some bonuses to it. So Aaron, meeting Zackary, just showing off a comic book to meet a woman. Yeah, baby, that's how you do it, right?
Strangely enough, with the younger generation,
you stole
not that
your
I would
wife.
go there, but yeah.
Why do I continue doing it? Cause I'm fucking stupid.
No, we like, bro, you hit the nail
Steps
on
and
the
then you
head.
have a problem, right, Jay?
There's no counseling,
It's a little bit of addiction. It's a little bit of, I want to tell the stories like Rich, the shit that's in my head. It's been in my head germinating for years, right? Decades. And it's gone from being wild, crazy, lucid dreams to daydreaming to try to make some logical sense out of it, right? To actually applying, right, these different forms of storytelling that I've learned throughout the years of making comic books to making it sound something sensible, right? And then you try to pepper in the entertaining stuff to it. That's why I'm still here. Because if not, I'd be going fucking bananas with all the shit that's in my head, not being able to get out any other way.
Why do I
get
sense
that.
like
Absolutely.
a comment from JD coming, like going bananas? Like he set you up perfectly, JD. I mean, come on.
No,
You just dropped the bat at the T-ball.
That's
That's what we're gonna call it. JD-itis.
But listen, just like you two guys, my wife, I met her through comics, and she's one of my artists on one of my books. So if you ever want to do comics inexpensively, you marry your artist, but you pay another.
Oh my God! Talk about sleeping with the secretary. Oh my God!
Why did I?
My spouse wrote, and I thought it was amazing. And then she stopped writing as soon as we got in a relationship. I was reading her book, and I was like, "Hey."
There you go. So Jay, you're up.
Okay, continuing on the crazy question.
Wait, Quasi was better.
Crazy
Yeah,
question.
crazy was better.
Made me think of Looney Tunes when you said it that way.
Wascally Wabbit. With all of the knowledge that you have amassed, right? I'm trying to make it sound a lot more important than it really is, right? But with everything you've learned in all your time making comic books, if you had taken that and applied that to something else in your life successfully, what would it be?
Nothing.
Oh,
That's a tough question, man.
That is.
Because all I know is comic books, and like I try so many jobs in my everyday average life, and it just doesn't fit, man. Like it seems like the only place that I don't get angry at my like at work,
Okay.
or I don't do anything
Okay.
like that. I'm like, well, fuck
Okay.
all this shit. Like I just want to do comic books. So when I do my artwork, and I'm like, so even though I'm getting frustrated at drawing comics, that's a different type of frustration, trying to figure it out, more than if I go to work and I'm just like, I don't even want to fucking be here. Like
Well,
this
all
is
right.
a waste
So
of my
let
time.
me narrow it down a little bit, right? Because being a self publisher, right? You're pretty much essentially an entrepreneur. Okay. You've developed all these different business skills. So if you've taken those business skills and forget about working for somebody else, right? If you had applied that knowledge of all these business skills that you've gained, what else would you be doing besides comic books?
Graphic designing, or anything to do with art in one way, shape, or form. Like if it's not comic books, I mean advertising, illustrations, because they pay the big bucks.
All right. I'm sorry, I'm loading up on the second of my libations this evening. Doran, what would you be doing, buddy?
Oh, I think I actually did this. So I actually stopped for quite a few years, and my drawings, I just let them sit. Really, being an artist kind of went to the side a lot of the times. So I became a graphic technician printer. So I tried to support my art side, creative side, and I went to school in 2000 for college late, but because I was poor, it took me a long time to get there. But anyways, so I became a graphic technician printer, and then always thinking I could get back to comics, right? So I learned how to run a printing press. I learned how to do graphic design. I then went and became a web designer after that when the internet came out and everything changed to that, and then got my digital media certificate. So I actually kind of did the second plan, and now I'm back to the first part of it. It got me here, but you know what I mean, I had to pay the bills along the way, right? So
damn right, you got to pay the bills, right? Anthony, what do you think you'd be doing?
I'm similar in that sense. In that I've actually got years of experience. I come from a Greek Cypriot family, so the thing was, you're not going to make money out of art. You know, you're gonna go get a trade of some sort. And being from a migrant family, my parents basically said, go study graphic design or be a printer. So I actually went into printing and graphic design for years, web design. To the point where I did dabble on art on the side and comics on the side, and but I didn't really get serious until 2009. Or 10. But I've actually, in that time, 9 years, I learned about printing, graphic design. I did web design. I actually taught at a university art, graphic design, illustration. So I've got a teaching background, and I also worked for a big retailer selling, to the point I was really good at selling. I learned how to sell really well, to the point where I got offered a shop to be a 2IC in a popular franchise called Harvey Norman. But I did not want to sell my soul. I just was not happy at all in that job. But all those skills have kind of helped me now. So selling my comics at Comic-Con and Supernova. I've taught. I still dabble in teaching, mentoring people here and there. But ultimately, I really love the process of creating comics, creating art, writing. And to me, I don't really want to do anything else. And this is why I get so angry about the AI fucking shit. Sorry to bring it up again, but is that I've done all the shitty jobs. Why didn't AI take those fucking jobs? Why did it go for the jobs that we want? You know, I'm sorry, but it just pisses me off, because I've done the 12. I've come like from a poor family, hardworking, lower middle class family. And I've done all the crappy jobs to do what I love. I should have been an artist when I was 20, but I couldn't afford to be an artist, like many people, you know. So
I'm with you.
And I've made the sacrifices to get here now. And people are like, you know, oh, I'm just going to make AI art because it's too hard to become an artist. I'm like, hey, if I was a poor ass guy doing it and I made it, you can do it. So shut the fuck up. Start making art. You know, sorry. Yeah, but that's basically, I don't think I could see myself doing anything else. apart from art, and I've done everything else before. And so comics and art and even if comics vanish, I'd do fantasy art, which is still, I'm doing a fantasy comic, so it's still related. They're the two things that they're my passions, you know, and that's it, you know. So yeah.
Okay. Way to be. Rich, what do you think you'd be doing, bud?
You know, I kind of came at things backward here because I have a business degree. I owned a theater. I owned a comic book shop. I haven't punched a time clock, worked for anybody else in like 15 years. And then I took that and I applied it to making comics. So I think if I wasn't doing comics, I'd build some kind of business, you know, because I like to build things. I build them until I get bored with them, and then I move on to something else. So I think I don't know, some kind of business, some kind of you know, customer focused business, you know, where you're facing people, because I do like to talk. I like to tell stories, you know. So yeah, something like that, some kind of story, a business that allows me to tell stories or allows me to interact with people.
Okay, cool. Now, Aaron, what do you think you'd be, bro?
Yeah, I think I've been doing motion graphics and storyboarding for so long. I think a lot of the skills I developed in comics, and it was funny because my boss, I started doing storyboarding I was like doing an internship with him, and he sometimes said, I could do storyboards for you, and he's like, no, you can't. It's like, can you? And I'm like, I make comic books. He's like, so? Like, comic books is storyboarding, you dork. And he's, oh yeah. And I'm like, I've been doing this for years, dude. I'm like, just give me the paper, sit down. And God, just trying to convince people that I could. Is like, give me that. And but I started doing basically motion graphics that move. I've been doing that a long time. But you know, it's funny. I worked all the retail jobs too. I mean, I grew up, you know, a single parent family and worked retail, and artists and retail don't mix because I can't sell anything. I mean, my stuff I can sell okay, but like other people's stuff, I'm too much of an introvert. So I did all the crappy jobs hoping the art would take off. You know, gone to school numerous times trying to get, you know, internships and try to do the graphic design. People say I'm not a graphic designer, and so yeah, you just keep working at it, hoping something breaks. But I understand with Rich saying you just kind of like Rich as Anthony taking all the crap jobs and hoping you just keep working at it, hoping something will break and like pull you out of the crap well of jobs into something better. And it's funny too, because the older you get, you just start amassing, then you actually become almost too good for the industry. I had somebody say like, one of the reasons you may not get a lot of jobs is you intimidate other artists. And I'm like, what? Because I've been working at this so long, like Anthony and other people, like now I intimidate him. I'm like, I'm not sure whether I believe that. That's kind of crazy, but yeah. So.
Okay. Calderon, what do you think you'd be doing?
It's a good question. I probably would have moved into either owning a comic shop or digital publishing or digital printing, which I did for a while. And I was actually quite good at that. But I was a broker back then. I was literally just selling somebody else's services. But I managed to do that quite well for about 6 years. So, but yeah.
The only thing crazier than writing comics is owning a comic book store. Trust me, I've been there.
Yeah, man.
But it's fun. Yeah. It's super fun.
I want to do that.
It's tough to convince comic stores to, you know, back crowdfunding campaigns, and I don't blame them because, as many as there are, there's a lot of them that don't. Because the way that it works is that, and correct me if I'm wrong, but comic shop owners, they have to invest money that they're using consistently to order comics that come in every month on an exact date. And then if they're going to be like, all right, let me just throw $40 to $50 over to this retailer tier pack, right? They're going to expect to get it on that expected delivery stamp that it says on that tier. And when it doesn't, and they have to wait like a fucking year or something like that, because that seems like it's a standard for these people who make them, then they just missed out on $40, $50 worth of orders
Yep.
that, you know, they could have definitely gotten their monies back on. And it irritates these guys because it's like, well, dude, like, you didn't give me the product. I lost money. And even if I got it later, it doesn't account for what I lost there.
Yeah, and I'll speak on that a bit because I've been there. I've been that guy putting those orders in, and you know, the lack of a consistent delivery date hurts. You know, because like you said, you've committed that money and you don't have the product to sell. And then the biggest hurdle, and I hand to God, this is the biggest reason why my store didn't back more Kickstarters, and we backed a lot of them. Kickstarter books are too fucking expensive. You know, it's like, you know, you're looking at a book and the retailer pack, you know, sells me a single issue for, you know, $6, $8, $10, whereas I can take that $8, $10 and buy, you know, probably 10 copies of Bat Dude or Spider Guy, and I know Bat Dude and Spider Guy are going to sell. I know if the Kickstarter book's going to sell, and there's already a lower profit margin for the store. And then I've got to convince somebody to spend extra money, because if I buy it for $10, I got to sell it for 15 or 20, or it's not worth taking the space. Because a comic book store, you're going to get 150, 200 new titles every single week. So that space on your shelf is valuable. And, you know, if you can't convince somebody to buy it, it doesn't make sense to have it. That's why with Reign of Dracula, we decided to, like, I was insistent with Thorny Comics that we make our books cheap and accessible, because I wanted to hit that retailer tier. And I finally got them down to where, you know, the way we worked it out was where instead of doing 24-page single issues, our Kickstarter campaign gets you 48-page double-sized issues. And those will only be available for Kickstarter. And then next year, the single 24-page issues are going to come out in comic book stores. So, you know, that was kind of the compromise that Thorny Comics let me make, was, you know, we're kind of doubling up the issues. So when you pay $10 for an issue, you're actually getting issues 1 and 2. And I think that, and then so, you know, retailers get like a 50% discount off of the, you know, like if the regular reader's paying $10 for it, the retailer's paying $5 on our Kickstarter.
Right.
So, you know, it makes
sense.
Right.
Makes sense. That's an aspect of business that many creators unfortunately don't understand. Right.
Yeah.
They don't understand the difference between wholesale and resale sometimes. And it comes to bite them in the ass. Right. It comes to bite the whole industry in the ass. But speaking of the industry, what I would be doing if I was not in comic books, I'd open up my own pizzeria. I've seen you know,
very artistic pizzas, like
faces
on them and stuff.
Man.
Oh,
I get
if
my
you found a way to combine comics and pizzas,
Dude.
I would buy that comic just to get the pizza.
Yeah, some way to like
in the back.
I mean, we had a guy he did a comic book bar that was actually really cool. He would do trivia nights, all sorts of comic book events. COVID took him under, but it was cool. But like a pizzeria, like imagine like kids coming in eating pizza and then introducing the comic books. That seems like a kind of a winning combination right there.
Let's be real here for a second.
Rocks in a pizzeria.
Let's be real here for a second. Can any comic book stores are the current toy stores? That's what they are today's standards. And what shocks me is that comic stores are suffering. You know, they're shutting down like left and right, and the ones that are still there are, you know, barely surviving, staying afloat. And it's stunning, because if you lost Toys R Us and you lost KB Toys, and amongst all these great other places, then why isn't it comic stores aren't that standard place where, you know, you can bring your kids into, where you go like Black Friday shopping or whatever the fuck you want to do? Like it's crazy.
Yeah, it's kind of, I think also, I don't know, comic book stores that have sections catered to kids, but they seem like the ones I have a lot of in Portland have kids section. But I wonder what it would be like if you had a comic book store that was all geared towards kids, like even the toys. It would
last about a month.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because I don't think
kids are reading
exactly. And they'll be reading
manga. Manga's the future. Actually, manga's the now. That's what kids want. They want manga.
I actually just broke into reading Berserk, and I'm kicking myself in the ass for not reading that anytime, like years ago. Like, it's so good.
All right,
like the artwork.
I got another question. Then when it comes to this, how how many shops have you seen? Have the adult material mixed in with the younger material, and if that's the case, would you feel comfortable bringing your child or your niece or your nephew into that place?
Wait a second. Hold on, guys. Before we get on, Jay, just hold on to that question. Hold on to it, because right now we're getting into some dark territory, right? And there's nothing darker than
Reign of Dracula.
Exactly.
See, I even got that one.
I like it. I like it.
Damn.
You're getting really good with your segues, buddy.
I'm trying. I've been working on them. So so there you go. Rich, please tell us about your campaign, man. What do we have here?
So this is Reign of Dracula. Again, it's the finale of my Dracula saga. This is interior art by Les Lyndon Garner. I like to tell people, if Cult of Dracula was a Toby Hooper, Southern Gothic, Texas Chainsaw Massacre story, Rise of Dracula was a John Carpenter near future dystopia, and Reign of Dracula is a full-on George Miller, Mad Max, the world is fucked apocalypse. This is Jonathan Harker, who we met in Cult of Dracula. He was a totally lame character, like the everyman, good old boy, positive all the time. And by the time we get to him in Reign of Dracula, he's like this badass wastelander leading the human resistance against vampires, heaven, hell. We got zombies in there. It's the apocalypse, we're pulling out. There's Nephilim rolling through here. I mean, it's insanity. And then,
Nephilim, okay.
Hell yeah. And then we got the B story, which is Lucy and Mina working their way. Lucy's going through the 9 levels of hell. Mina's going through the circles of heaven. And all of that while this apocalypse is going on. So it's a really rad story. Of course, I have to say that I'm biased, but I really have enjoyed it, and especially if you've read Cult and Rise, this is hopefully going to be a very satisfying ending for you. And if you haven't read Cult or Rise, back the Kickstarter, and we're going to give it to you. So and you also get free digital copies of my current book, Prometheus and Canes, which is out in comic book stores right now. So you can read all 6 issues before we're up to issue 3 in comic shops, so you can read all 6 issues for free by backing the Kickstarter, and you'll get the whole story months before anybody else, because 4, 5, and 6 come out next month, and the next month. So it's really a really good idea to back this if you like horror, if you want to follow this story. And I love Les's art, man. I really love what he's doing it. Our Kickstarter campaign also is we're releasing those in jumbo size 48-page issues, and they are in black and white. The comic shop versions will be 24-page single issues, and they'll be in full color. So we really wanted to give people a reason to back the Kickstarter rather than just waiting for it in the shop. But we also wanted to give people a reason to go buy it in the shop because we want to support local comic book stores. So we kind of get to split both worlds here. It's really been interesting to see how this campaign's developed. I got a lot of great artists to do some really sick covers for me. Brian Silverbacks, Sean Koss, Bella Racklin, Jonathan McDaniel.
I know Bella.
Yeah, Bella's amazing. I just met her.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. I've enjoyed working with her. Tyler J. Haddix did some work on The Last Ronin. This is Rob Reziano. He's done work with Vampirella. This cover right here, for whatever reason, it got me put in Facebook jail for the first time in my life. It pissed me off so much that they reported me. So I don't know what.
Yeah, but when you post it on the Christian Facebook page, yeah.
Kids. Where were you a week ago?
Right. I know they could have told you, hey, man, the thing with the church and the cross, that's not a good idea.
Who was it that mentioned Dolly earlier?
Oh, here we go.
Me.
Yeah. So, all right. So I got with Tyler J. Haddix, and I told him what I wanted. I wanted like an atomic bomb explosion. And I had the idea of working with Dolly's ballerina in the skull. And, I said, make the atomic bomb, look like the skull. And he rolled his eyes. He said, it's so boring. Everybody does that. And I was like, yeah, but that's a challenge. Do it different. And he was like, oh shit. And so he did, he made this thing. It's the explosion it's made out of bodies. And I love the way it moves. He captured the movement of a mushroom cloud. And then if you look real close, you get to see, you can see the skull made out of bodies. And so it's a huge call out to Dolly Francis Bacon. Some of those, they were some of my favorite artists. I was glad to be able to pay tribute to them. Tyler nailed this cover. It's my favorite cover. It's probably not going to be the best one to sell because it doesn't have boobs. But I do dig that cover. It's out of all of them, it's my favorite.
Yeah, he missed an opportunity.
Dude,
There's a lot of
is
opportunities.
fucking killer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All you had to do
work
was
is
add a
insane.
nipple, man, and you could have doubled your income. I mean,
Right. And that's Sean Koss's art, man.
That's my
I
favorite
love
one.
him.
Right.
Yeah, I love him, man. It's he
Yeah.
writes his art is really him working through his depression, the mental health issues, and I love what he does. So I'm very happy to be working with Sean. And this really speaks volumes to the story that goes on in Reign of Dracula. I love that art.
Yeah, it's a nice piece.
That's Jonathan McDaniel right there. That's going to be the first cover appearance of a brand new character called Lily. We actually meet her in Prometheus in Chains issue 6. And then she plays a huge role in Reign of Dracula. She's obviously a good guy because she's holding Mina and Lucy's heads in her hands. So, she's the hero, clearly, right?
Of course.
That's Brian Silverbacks, who it just disgusts me that he's not working more. I love these watercolors that he's doing. It's got a David Mack, Peach Momoko vibe to it, and I think this could end up being a calling card for Brian. This style could get him a lot of work. And Brian's just a good dude. He's a Ringo Award nominee and fantastic dude, man.
Damn, I don't even stand out amongst you guys. You guys got some fucking skill set on you.
That's Bella's cover right there. Bella's amazing. I just met her a couple weeks ago, actually, and I dig her vibe. I dig her art. She's a cool chick, man, and I hope she keeps getting work.
Oh, she does. So she fucking does.
And that's more or less, of course, that's interior art there. Proud of all these artists, man. And I'm humbled that they've lent me their talents because I can't draw for shit.
Gotcha. Well, you still got 23 days to go.
Yeah, we just started. I have no idea if we're making good progress or not. I have no frame of reference, but I was pretty excited that we're not even a week in, and we're 35% to our goal. And so that feels pretty good. I think we're going to get it. We're working on with Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones. They've got a massive Dracula Kickstarter going right now called Dracula the Impaler. They just hit like 150 grand, and so we're working on So we're working on a crossover promotion with them. Which is going to be really cool. That's one of the things I do love about comics. It's easy to get negative, but the people that are working in comics, I've discovered in my experience, comic creators want other comic book creators to succeed, and it's more community over competition. And so everybody I've ever reached out to for advice or whatever, they've all been very responsive to it. And Matt and Kelly have been so cool with this. And so we're really excited to be working to kind of cross promote our book and their book. Anybody out there, if you're listening, if I can give you a shout out of, whatever, if my audience, my reach will help you, I don't know what good it'll do, but I'll be glad to do that. So
hell yeah, we can cross promote each other. Hell
yeah, man. Just hit me up.
To do it
together. We can't do
What's
this.
your social media?
It's at World of Dracula on everything except Twitter, because I fuck Twitter. Twitter scares me, man. It's terrifying. Yeah. Twitter and Reddit, man, they're just I stay away from that. Like,
There you go. I gotcha.
All right, man. I'll follow you back.
Yeah. Let's go.
All right, move on to somebody else. Even I'm tired of my own voice now.
No.
All right.
So here we go. Anthony, you are up, sir. 9 Sexy Tales of the Kitsune.
Yeah. Cool.
So talk to me. What do you got here? What do we have?
So I've got 3 anthologies here. We've already done one. The Byzane Book of Monsters was end of 2021. That was an overfunded project, did really, really well. And I decided to go down the dark side, down the rabbit hole, and do my first ever NSFW comic. Now, the second comic is MA15 plus. So it's just more horror and violence. So it is horror, it's fantasy, and it's so the mythology behind it is the Baizai was a Chinese monster that knew about all known monsters in the known universe, and it was a very powerful creature. And Japan also had its own version called the Hakutaku. And so volume 2 is the Hakutaku. That's more I would probably say MA15 plus audience. So if you're 15 and up, it's not as violent or as raunchy. And so the Hakutaku has got a lot of Japanese mythology in it. And it's got I open up the book with a story about the Hakutaku, which is set in Japan. It's all it's all watercolor art. So if you scroll down, you see just the cover is a different artwork. So we go down a little bit more. You might have to go down right a bit more. So here it is. There it is, the Hakutaku. So, and I have a Japanese. I have learned Japanese in my background. Like I studied that in high school, and I've also I've got some Japanese friends. I've got a foreign exchange student who's from Japan, and he basically is helping me do a scroll, an official Hakutaku scroll, which was like a talisman which protected a village in Japan from pestilence and disease. So it's a bit late. COVID's over, so we can't use it now. But or maybe you can still. But yeah. So the volume 2 is got 6 creators. There's about 3 stories from Japan. 2 are from Southeast Asia, from Sri Lanka. There's a Sri Lankan horror story. There's a Filipino about the Capre. And there's a whole range of creators on board as well. There's even one about the Jiangshi, the Chinese hopping zombies. So if you love monsters, this is probably, I would even say PG. Like you could probably read most of these stories to kids above 13 and no problems. There's nothing really overly graphic or scary about it. Well, it's scary because it's horror, but I would say it's probably the one that most people can get. So that's a new book. Volume 1 is definitely for the whole family. My first book, you go down, you can see all the artwork of the first volume. That is definitely the whole family can do that. And Volume 3 is obviously the naughty one. And so what I've done is gone into more Japan. Volume 3 is all of Japan, a majority of Nine-Tailed Fox stories. It's about the kitsune, but the evil one. So there were good kitsunes, there were bad kitsunes in Japan, and I'm focusing on the evil ones in this book. Maybe we'll do this is a once-off, this NSFW comic. Nothing wrong with doing it. We're working with another creator. She's got a book called The Fox and Hound, and that's an NSFW comic, and that's quite raunchy. And that she's got a short story in there. So we're about to announce a really great offer with that. But if I did go down this route again with the kitsune, it would definitely be more love stories and more, not even horror, just like a love story, fantasy, and focusing on I wouldn't say positive, but the good kitsune. So there's good kitsunes, there's evil ones, and there's mischievous ones, and we've definitely gone the evil route. One of them is set in Australia, so I'm basing it on, it's about a girl that comes to Australia. She doesn't know she's a nine-tailed fox, and she becomes a homestay student. She's a student studying at university, and she gets preyed upon the family that she's with. Like they try to assault her sexually, and she has her revenge. She bites the head off one of the people living there, and ends up killing the whole family out of revenge. And she doesn't mean to, because she doesn't know she's a nine-tailed fox. So, but yeah, that's pretty much what we've done. Like I said, this isn't something I normally do, but I just thought I'd explore it for Halloween. I'd go horror. I thought I'd go really dark. And I do love horror, but this is probably the first and last book of its kind, the volume 3. When we do go back to an anthology, it won't be next year, but it'll be 2025. We're going more G-rated horror, more like your Goosebumps vibe. And this is volume 1. This is the artwork and the stories from volume 1. So this is definitely family oriented. It's more your Goosebumps vibe. It's more horror that everyone can read. I mean, there is some violence, but it's more magical fantasy violence, that sort of thing. But we've got all the monsters from different stories in Chinese mythology. So it's not just me. I mean, I'm one of the main writers and creators, and I'm putting it all together. But there's 12 creators. You can go down. You can see there's amazing creators on board, amazing artists on board. I'm just basically pulling it all together. I've got dice that I've created. These are dice that I've actually sculpted myself. So Halloween themed dice. We've got Howling Wolf dice for D&D.
Yeah.
We've got Goblin dice. I created a whole Goblin mold, and I've got a Dragon Eye, Evil Eye dice. So, it's, and then we've also got pins and coins, enamel pins, glow in the dark ones, and also coins. But yeah, it's a lot. It's a big project. I'm just hoping it funds. I think we'll get there, but it has. I'm not going to lie. It's been a challenge, and I don't think it's got anything to do with Kickstarter. I think it's more the fact that this is my 4th Kickstarter this year, and it's at the end of the year when everyone's already bought their Christmas presents or they're still thinking about what they're going to get. So for me, it's been a bit of a slog. I'm happy to do the cross promo with anyone, and we've got a few more slots in for next week. We've still got 10 days, so I'm scheduling people if anyone wants to do cross promotion, or even if you've want to do an exclusive deal where you do artwork for the comic covers. I'm looking at doing an alternate cover for the first book again. So if anyone wants to come on board, we can hire someone to do that. Because I'm just busy. So these are all the creators. It's a really great mixed bag of different multicultural people from all around the world. It's a truly international team. We've got Australian, but we've got American people, people from Poland, people from Brazil, Malaysia, and these are just the fans and stuff saying nice stuff about the books. But yeah, if you like fantasy and horror, definitely the first 2 books. If you're a fantasy and dark horror fan, you'll love it. And if you want something a bit naughty, the volume 3 is something that is rare. I'm never going to do that again. Nothing wrong with it. Maybe not under my name. But
I've been there.
I've been doing like more fantasy G-rated comics, and I'm going back to Luminet. For those fans that are listening or do see this later in the future, I am doing volume 2 of my main series, Luminous Ages. I'm going back to the main series. I've done so many spin-offs now. It's like I've got to get back to the meat and potatoes of my series, and that's kind of something that I'm like hoping to launch a 48 to 60 page comic graphic novel, in June, end of May to end of June, and we're also launching a card game at the end of the year for our series, a party card game. So yeah, that's pretty much where it's at. Any questions, or you wanna?
I'm backing you right now.
Oh really? Oh, thank you.
Hell yeah. I love this. The cover with the lion thing on it. I don't know what that is. That is sick. I love that.
Yeah. So that's the Baizé, and it, like I said, it has 2 forms. It's it originated from China, and the way it's pronounced is Baisa, like that, and that is like where it came from. But then Japan took it and made it their own as well, and that was the Hakutaku. And like I said, I'm going to be inking the lettering. I'm getting a Japanese expert to look at it. Like when I say expert, it's a student that I've been known for years. He's going to check that the scroll is the magical scroll for the 5th page of the comic. So yeah, but look, I love horror, fantasy. That's my passion, horror and fantasy. And it's been fun doing this. And like you've got to explore different things. I thought I'd try something else. It's not over till the last day. And I'm just excited to get this completed, really. Like what everyone said before, it's like getting another book under your belt. Definitely not going to put this one in the shelf, on the naughty one in my studio on the shelf, because I do have 4 nieces and nephews. So, this will be hidden in the top drawer somewhere where no one can see it. But the other 2 volumes, the kids can read, and the first 2 volumes are pretty safe. I mean, you could check the second volume. The first volume, 100% is fine, and the second volume is, like I said, be PG-13 to 15 plus. So, have a read of it yourself. If there's anything that you think is too dark for children to read, that's fine. I understand, but it is horror. Obviously, you're going to have something that, whenever you're writing horror, there's going to be something that's going to. Children can be sensitive to anything, even goosebumps. They can get nightmare from goosebumps and even Star Wars. So you always want to check that before you give a comic to someone. So
now all of the volumes are available.
All 3 volumes are available. Yeah, we're just completing. I literally have finished volume 2. I'm watercoloring 2 pages. I'm sorry to bring the pages in because I actually got the pages. I'll walk to my kitchen and bring them back. Just that, like, I'll have a bit of a break. I'll go get that and come back and show you some of the watercolor and inks. Yeah, volume 2's done. Volume 3's nearly completed. We've only got 6 pages to go. We're planning to send it out by Christmas. All the coins are coming in, the enamel pins. I've already put my money. I've paid most of my artists, or most artists are on the agreement that once it's complete, they're getting paid, or they've been paid 50% already. So I've got a lot on the line here on this one. I'm taking a big risk, a big gamble. But that's what you do. And like I said, we all want to get famous, but I really am doing this for the love of it, like everyone else. And and it's all a journey. That's how you got to see it. Everything's a journey, and we all learn from things, so I've learned a lot. And now anthologies I'll continue, but 2025 and all the Goosebumps vibe, so that sort of thing. Not scary, but not too dark,
You're at 3,700. You got another $1,500 to go. You got 10 days ago. I think you're gonna make it. I don't think you're gonna have a problem.
The bump is coming as well, as everyone was saying too. Yeah.
And like I said, I'm happy to share your projects and do cross promotion. If there's any, like, another way of helping each other out, creators, I find is like what I'm doing with Fox and Hound. We're about to do a special deal today. I'm going to announce it after the podcast, after this YouTube episode. We're doing like a free pinup foil print of 2 pinups of a succubus artwork that I've done before that I painted. It was an impulse or a succubus of a local Adelaide model. And then I'm also doing a pinup from the Fox and Hound artist as well, Chris Pitcairn. He's created artwork for that story. And so they're exclusive prints only available to backers. And what they're doing is they're sharing the project and saying, hey, fans, we know you love our series, but we've got a short story in this book. It's exclusive to Luminous Studios. That's my studio. It's called Luminous Studios. So if you got an idea like that and you want to come to me, there's still 10 days. If you're like, hey, Anthony, I'll do an alternate cover if you want to do the alternate cover for the first volume for me, I'm happy to, work out a deal, payment of some sort. And you want to tell your fan base about it and help promote it. And, there's a paid gig there for people. So I'm happy to budget, for another cover artist. So I'm open to those sort of things. Or, if you want to give me an artwork, or we give each other an artwork to say that they're exclusive to each other's Kickstarters, and that way we can send each other's audiences to each other. I'm happy to do all that sort of stuff, and even just cross promo, whatever you feel.
What's your Instagram?
I am a Christou Art. I have got a YouTube channel too, which I'm starting to. I've interviewed other really prominent fantasy artists like Matt Stawicki from Dragonlance, John Sideri, artists from Astro Mythos. I've interviewed Tyler James, all sorts of amazing creators. So I'm actually focusing more on YouTube next year because I want to create a book, like a series called Luminous Lore, and it's about a wandering traveler in a caravan. He's got a special fantasy mount, might be a tiger dragon, a creature that I create, and I'm going to explore my whole world, almost like creating a setting guide for Dungeons and Dragons, or it's going to be more agnostic for any RPG players, but I'll be painting a comic book page once a fortnight, and then showing a feature artwork, and then giving away like a stat block or saying, this is how you could play this in D&D, like telling a story more than creating. There'll be a process video, but it'll be more like story driven. Like, this is my world, and this is what's happening this week. We're in this city of the world of Luminous Ages, the universe, and these are the animals you'll meet, or the creatures. So, yeah, YouTube. You can find me a Christou Art on YouTube, I think, or Anthony Christou Art, and a Christou Art on Instagram. So,
just follow you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. Just I'm gonna pull up the next campaign. Doran, I'm having a little problem pulling up yours, but I'm gonna get yours up somehow, some way. So I'm gonna skip you over real quick, and I'm gonna pull up Zach's. So we got Voyage issue 1.
Yep, this is the ongoing series, so I'm starting it here.
Do you want me to play this video?
If you want, you can. I always when the electric guitar hits, I'm always like, all right, yeah. I never watch it. That's why. Nice. Yeah, so that video took me about a few hours to make. First time trying it out on iMovie. But yeah, no. So Voyage focuses on this extraterrestrial name.
I'm sorry. Can you get back to the campaign there, Calderon?
Yeah, man. Give me a second. All right, I'm doing 15 things here, sir. Go ahead.
No, sorry. So Voyage is about this extraterrestrial named Sonderon. He's on a hero's journey to find an ancient artifact that is fractured and spread out throughout the universe. And the lore, the state of the universe he's in is in a dystopian future. And the lore behind this artifact states that once all pieces are united once more in the sphere, it will bring peace and repair to what its broken state is now. And the cool thing about Sonderon is that he doesn't want to do it. He doesn't even know much about the lore and how important his journey really is. He just wants to do him. So he's exiled, and issue 1 focuses him arriving to the first planet outside of his star system. And there's a lot of challenges and obstacles he's got to overcome. One being the fact that there's a lot of xenophobia against him due to the fact that he is the first of his kind to leave his star system for so long, because his race, his species, is closely tied to that lore, and he doesn't know that. So that's just one example. And in issue 1, there's a certain moment where he encounters a double cross, and he intervenes on that, and it plasters his face on the law enforcement of that sector. So they're after him, and he's the outside of his star system, it's the real world, because his system is so closed off from actual reality that his own species has evolved into what he looks like to that state. It's more of an ancient Native Americans, riding horses and living in tents. That's how his culture is. So, when you have that kind of culture, and then he's out in the real world where, you're walking down current day New York City, you're going to be like, what the fuck is going on? You're kind of freaking out. So this is where, I'm pacing this story. So, when I was in the Cuban school, I self-published the anthology book. It was 88 pages. When I got out of the school, I did a test run issue to see how people would like. So that was Voyage to the Call one shot. And then I got so much feedback that was so positive from it that people wanted to see him come back. So I was like, okay, here you go. So issue 1 is packed with 48 pages, 32 pages with the first story, and then 8 pages for the backup story. The rest of it's just a bunch of pinups and all that extra stuff. But all the artwork is done by me. I only have the inker for the first story. And I got a colorist for like both the stories, but the initial artwork itself is me.
Nice. So, I mean, I didn't have a chance to check, but how many days you have left on this?
I think it has like 10 days, and you know, the writing on the wall, it looks like it's not going to fund. So, you know, knowing that, if it doesn't, I'm going to be taking a step down from crowdfunding, because this is my third time doing it, like third try.
Mhm.
And dude, like crowdfunding, it takes a toll out of you. It takes so much. And like, I would have been done with this issue completed like the beginning of this year, like January, February. And because, you know, I launched like in May, and like all this stuff, it takes so much out of you. You got to network, you got to post, you got to schedule, you got to, you know, do all this and that. And I'm not trying to sound negative or anything like that, but I'm an artist and a creator at the end of the day. I'd rather go ahead and just get this book and just have to sacrifice more money to pay for it, you know, out of my own pocket, because, you know, instead of having to do all this all over again.
What about trying to fund it at a different amount, at a lower amount?
Yeah.
It was so when I was in May, so basically I'm not even paying myself. The way that I structured this is that my colorist is getting, you know, the colorist, the inker, the letterer, and the editor, and then on top of that, so that's just the talent cost. That's not even including the printing and shipping. And like, I don't even worry like about the prints or anything like that. It's really just those things that brought it up to like 8,300. And then I talked to like the talent team, like, hey, do you guys mind, you know, it's up to you if we can do an adjustment on your talent cost prices. And they say, yeah, don't worry, man, we want to see this book fund as much as you can. And I brought it down to 5,300, and that's as low as I can go with, to work well with everyone. And you know,
I hear you. I do. Trust me. I know the struggles, bro. And I'm not knocking you. And I'm not telling you what to do. But if you're gonna come out of your pocket anyway, right?
Yeah.
Why don't you just do a lower amount, so that way the hit on your pocket is not going to be as painful as if you didn't get any money out of this.
if I did that, that means that I would have to work on completing the book, finish it, ready to go to print. Then like a couple months later, I'd launch again for like what, 2-3 grand or something like that. And I have to like reconstruct the campaign all over again.
Yeah, but that's the cycle.
I'm like,
cycle. I mean, I'm in the same boat you are. Trust me, I am. And again, please, I'm not trying to overstep. I'm not trying to dig at you. I'm not. You got a good looking book, and we all know the struggles of trying to put together something, right? My book is it's shit in the bed. I'm not going to deny it, and I am going to try to do it again if it doesn't fund, for a lower amount, so that way the hit isn't as hard. But then there's another platform, and I'm going to hit it on the other platform because it's part of a series, right? You gotta,
yeah.
I would say try Kickstarter as well. Definitely give Kickstarter a shot, because I think like I have done.
Well, I went to Kickstarter. I went to Kickstarter for the, you know, like the previous 2 campaigns. I went to Kickstarter.
What months did you launch? Because I think that has a big.
I did it. I launched in May, and then the campaign previous to that one was launched in May as well.
Yeah.
But if you get 1,500 out of Kickstarter, and then you get 1,500 out of Indiegogo, shit, you know, that's 3 of your 5 grand. Again, your hit is not going to be that hard.
Yeah.
It's tricky. It's a hard balance. And I think we're all experiencing, like, I certainly know I've learned that. And again, I took the comic launch, part of the comic launch course. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of that from Tribe or whatever. That's the first thing he says, is that, you know, if you put it too high, then I started to realize a lot of people do that. They're putting, and I just did it on mine. I lowered it down for kind of for success. And if it gets up there, fantastic. If it, and then as you say, I'll move on to Indiegogo or fund my comic for the next part of the.
Do you think it's the same psychological effect why things are like $19.99 instead of $20? Like you're shaving off a penny, so they think it's $19 instead of $20. So maybe if you put it lower, they think like, well, this is going to be able to succeed or make its goal. Like the lower the goal amount, the more people are like, well, this is probably going to succeed. Because I personally have gotten the Kickstarters when I see the amount they're going for. I'm like, again, it's stupid of me because I'm like, well, if I did actually pledge, then I can help them get to that amount. But there's also that back of my head. It's like, yeah, but is like, how well is this doing? So I sometimes wonder because I've seen a lot of people do like 500 goal and then make like $2,000 or something because people are like, oh, it 500 is easy, boom, it hit, and
there's a reason for
icing on the cake, yeah.
And there's a reason they do that too, because if you get funded quickly, it gets you supposedly the algorithm treats you different. So to get funded quickly, you're going to get more attention. Apparently, is what I've heard. I don't know if that's true. I don't want to say
the algorithm. I want to say the people out there, right? They're like, oh, okay, we know that this book is going to hit, so I'll put my money into it now.
Right.
Yeah. Right. So it's not the algorithm. It's just regular consumer. I don't know. Consumer fucking
mentality.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. See what happens after 2 beers? You're
lucky I'm from the
future. Go for the third.
I'm from the future. I'm from Australia. We're ahead of time. It's Monday.
There you go.
Yeah, honestly, I'm just tired. At this point, so it's like if it doesn't fund, I'm gonna take a step down, and then I'll just like print it on my own, finish it up. I'm going to quite a few cons next year, so I'd rather just do a small print run and just take it with me. And like, I'm okay with that because, it's 3 years now. Yeah, 3 years doing this crowdfunding scene, and it hasn't been all that positive. But that's just the realistic aspect of certain things. Sometimes it's not going to work out for you. Sometimes it is. And everybody's circumstantial.
I mean, your stuff's really good. I mean, I like your stuff.
Really
it reminds me of Zen, the Intergalactic Ninja. So I was thinking maybe you get the design of the character, and there's been other characters like that too. But like maybe you can get guys like that who'd be into like Zen, or that character. Because Zen's been around, the 80s. Here and there,
Zen is I grew up with Zen. I grew up with Bone. Those, I'm not gonna lie, those were inspiration.
Oh yeah, there's nothing wrong. I mean, what the Prometheus movie basically took Zen and made it into a white. Yeah, so but no, you have good stuff. It's weird.
Was garbage.
What?
I hate the Prometheus movie.
Oh yeah, I can't stand it.
It looks beautiful. It looks fucking beautiful, but it just.
But Zach, I mean, I get it, man, but I wouldn't give up, bro.
Yeah, man.
I wouldn't give up.
Don't give up.
And here's what I was going to ask you. Do you have a flexible funding goal? And are you going to stretch? Because you're in Indiegogo, you might be able to do another. Oh, you did fix?
It's a fit because, like, it doesn't sit right with me when I have people's money in my account and then it doesn't fund. And I'm like, well, I still have your money. Like, that doesn't seem right to me. So I'm like, no, like, I do fix so nobody's fucked over. And then I'll just, handle it like a grown adult. Like, I'm not like trying to swindle anybody. So I'm I'm really trustworthy because I also hear a lot of problems with people in Indiegogo where they'll have the money and not a single person will receive rewards. And that's way too much that I'm trying to avoid.
Zackary, here's one of the things that Calderon does, right? He'll launch it on Kickstarter, right? He won't ask for big bucks. He'll get it printed up. And in the time of it coming back from the printer, he already has an Indiegogo going, right? So he's selling the copies, the extra copies that he ordered from his initial print run, right?
I think what I heard from Zach as well was that he really wants to be the creator. Like he's like me. Like I find like I'm not doing my art anymore as much, and I find that I'm not creating I'm creating my comics, but I'm not doing it the way I was started doing it. I'm now producing it more. I'm now, I'm more hiring artists now and stuff instead of doing it myself. You know what I mean? So I kind of got a little bit of a vibe there. Was that correct, Zach? That you're kind of feeling like I want to make the book, and I feel the same way all the time.
Yeah, I'm a storyteller, and when all that time goes into social media and network and all that stuff, it's just time away from my my table. I'm a QB at the end of the day. I'm sitting there trying to tell stories. And when I'm away from that table, man, it kills me. So I'm like, no, I'd rather just work on the artwork and get that done.
Like as a
Listen,
writer,
sometimes.
I can. Oh, go ahead, Calderon.
Well, hold on. Yeah, I mean, sometimes this business is hell, right?
Yeah.
But not as much as Rake hell, right?
Oh,
Oh, he found it.
oh,
They look at it.
tonight. Wow.
There you go.
No,
All right.
excuse
Nice.
me. I'm sorry.
Do you want me to play this video?
Yeah, sure. That's a great way to introduce everything that's going on. If you take the cursor off the bar, you can see the text. Sorry, it's one of the tricks.
He's not. He can't hear you.
Nice.
Bada boom.
So
Yeah,
Doran, walk us through it.
Yeah, so it's a story about a town called Raquel, and it's a cursed town, obviously, and it's fending off basically the darkness. I'm the devil. It's got a secret Templar order that has been there, but it's been decimated and was forced back into hiding. Basically, what the video was trying to talk about. It didn't succeed, and they went back into hiding. But literally now they've been found, and how that story is going to go from there. So. The main character is called Keeper, and he doesn't have, like, no one calls him Keeper. His name is even released at this point. So if you hover over those sections, it'll animate, and it's a GIF. Hopefully it'll load.
Yeah, my computer's acting a little funky. I don't know.
Okay, so but the idea is that Keeper is made a kind of a big mistake. In issue 1, he's trying to do an exorcism, and it goes horribly wrong. And he brings over the demon to our world, and it's the effect of that greater demon and this small town trying to deal, what's left of this ghost town, trying to deal with the consequences of Keeper's mistake. So that's really the premise of everything. But it goes, where I'm taking this is where horror's never been before, I don't believe. There's gonna be some interesting spots where Keeper ends up, and as he has to come out into the kind of his hidden world, into more of a modern world, to deal with this demon he's released. So right now it's just keep animating through. So no, it's some great art. I've worked with a variety of artists on it, obviously, from the video from all over the world. So this is the new character called Trevor. He's a tow truck driver in the middle of nowhere. So I thought that's a really cool, kind of interesting, shall we say, someone who gets possessed in that fashion could be very misleading, where they're supposed to be someone who's supposed to trust. You're supposed to trust, but they're not so trustworthy after all. And yeah, so this here is Aja Cerezo's work. He's actually the reason I started the series up. He contacted me and was looking for some work, and I said, hey, let's go. So I started it up about a little over a year ago. So I'm just getting to issue 2 now, and then hopefully we can speed things up a bit. This is a great piece here by Erwin. Erwin, is it J? Oh, anyways, Erwin. Rosa? Rosa. Yeah, he's worked on a couple different projects. Yeah, he's really cool. And Jocko. So I like to put art on the front and back of everything. So I want to create unique fronts and backs for the comics. So that's why each one will have a different back to it. And you'll see on top of the demon in the back there, Mangrel, you'll see everything's encoded to my my card that I have for the Templar Decoder card.
Nice.
This here's Draco Guerrera here. A lot of people like the Hellhound. You can actually see over my shoulder. I did a holochromium poster of it. It's got some glow to it, and that it's really neat. But yeah, so it's really cool to work with these artists. And this is Aja's work again, Cerezo's work once more. He had kind of an anime vibe to this one, so I called it the anime horror variant. I wasn't sure what to call it initially, but I love the staging. So I'm involved with all the designs of the art. 90% of it. And here's my Romero cover, I call it. Hopefully I'm not going to get in trouble for this one. So I met George A. Romero about 6 years ago at the local Comic Con, and we watched the Creep show with him, and he commentated for us on it. It was a really cool experience. Unfortunately, he died a few months later, and so I kind of did an homage cover to his style from the Creep show. So that's what this one here is all about.
To be honest, it reminds me of an EC cover.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it reminds me of an
Yeah.
EC cover. Yeah.
I
Have
think
you never heard?
were you referencing the Creep Show poster like cover? Of
The comics that he would have had in it. Actually, I was really
which
surprised.
are basically EC comics, so that's where it came from. Okay, yeah,
that's
Creep
what
Show
it's
was
based on.
from EC, so yeah. It was
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay, because I can't say I've honestly ever seen the comic. I only seen it in the videos for the movies and in like the kids reading it type thing. And
right.
So I never actually saw them printed. But
yeah,
I see them
the
on
Crypt
the
Keeper
start
and
of
the
every
Creep
series.
Show.
Yeah,
I think they were all EC, and that's how EC always did their stories.
I thought you were saying DC. I'm like DC. I'm like
no EC, and I don't know what EC
okay.
stands for. I don't know if it stood for anything. I'm not sure.
It was Entertainment Comics for a while. They kept changing it over the years in the 50s. And if you've never seen the Creep Show comic, the physical trade by Bernie Wrightson? Bernie Wrightson drew it. It's a beautiful book.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it's amazing. Even the Frankenstein work.
Oh yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think the Frankenstein book is what burnt his ass out. Like that, he was done after. I don't think he could ever draw the same. I think because he went so fucking hard at it that he just he couldn't draw for a couple of years or something like that.
Wow. Yeah, he never finished that book, did he? Or did he finish Frankenstein?
No, he finished.
Did he finish?
He finished it. It was just dude. If you look at that book, man, it's all the artwork for it is like it's something. Like that book will be talked about. It's like Bernie Wrightson's magnum opus.
Yeah.
Now there's separate things though. There's the Frankenstein that he drew the illustrations for the prose book, but he also did a comic book through IDW for Frankenstein, which he never finished because he passed away.
Oh, so that's why I heard about. Okay, that was
right.
Okay.
That was finished by Kelly Jones. So yeah. And then, but the thing is, though, is what had happened was after he had finished that book for the Bram Stoker book, the actual prose book, he went to Hollywood. He was doing storyboarding for a long time, because it just pays a lot more money than comic.
Bernie Wrightson passed away.
Yeah, he passed away.
Yeah, man, he passed away
4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah, man.
Was it something like that? Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think about all the generation we're losing.
I hate to do this. I got another stream I got to bounce on. But I really appreciate you guys having me on.
Yeah,
it was great meeting you all, cool, and I really want to keep talking with you guys and stuff. So hit me up on my social media. I already messaged you, and then a couple of you guys. So yeah, just hit me up, and I'm down to keep shooting the shit.
Yeah, man.
What do you mean, man?
Cool.
Zach, it was good meeting you, brother. I mean, you too. I mean, good luck with the book. If you ever need any advice, we have plenty of ideas on how to try to help you make more money.
Yeah.
I got you.
Because that's ultimately what we try to do every week is just try to help everybody make more money.
Yeah. He just always told me to sell my body on the streets, but I guess that's just the default.
You know, I mean, I think you're gonna pay out more money there than you are.
Come on, look at me. Come on.
It's a losing proposition.
Sorry,
you guys
Aaron,
have
sorry.
a wonderful night.
Take it easy. Take it easy, Zach. It was good meeting you, brother.
You end up getting sued.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Yeah.
All right,
so I
so I'm
never
sorry,
meant to have.
Doran.
No, it's all good. I never meant to have 6 different covers. It just worked out that way.
Yeah.
It's the first time I've done that many, and it definitely wasn't by design. I was only supposed to have 3, but then I had the chance to work with Irwin, and then I had the idea for the George A. Romero one, and I was like, well, I got to add these in. It's a little extra cost to me. I'm actually late, so I've bought a laser. So see that bookmark there? I'm actually creating those. So they're actually, I call them a crossblade bookmark. So it's kind of neat that I'm creating those, and then the holochrome covers I got behind me from posters. And I'm surprised these aren't gone. So this is Aja's original sketch art cards. I mean, they sold like hotcakes on issue 1. I've got 3 of them I released from my collection. I didn't even want to get rid of them. I was like, okay, they'll help make a little bit of money for this. And I put them at a reasonable price for a sketch card. They're 4x6. And then I've got some stickers, and I got a bunch of
You hit
different
JD's weakness because he likes the cards.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
he's more
there's the hologram.
If you put up challenge coins, Calderon will eat that shit.
Oh, the
up.
challenge coins are gone. I was giving away challenge coins the first week. If you backed it in the first week, you got entered into a draw for free Templar challenge coins. It's actually at the bottom. You'll see some pictures of them. I didn't make the challenge coins. I found them, and I was like, oh, these are really, really beautiful.
Cool.
But yeah, so there's just a breakdown.
Yeah, I like
so there's
your-
your challenge coins.
I like
the
your
demon
little-
guy. Now, is your demon guy in the book? He's the bad guy, the demon. It's the
Yeah.
other guys trying. Okay.
So and the idea here is that there's a bigger story to all this. It's called the World of Whitefire, and this
Okay.
is just kind of a small kind of glimpse into it that works. But it's all about heaven and hell being unbalanced, right? And basically, what's happened is the devil created a new form of demon from his own flesh and released it, and it's called a Rakel. So the name of the town is actually named after the demons. They're that cocky, and they're manipulative as hell, right? And they work on the kind of your old pyramid scheme theory where they take you over, manipulate you, and then you get dark rewards for the bad things you do. So that's the whole premise of that side of it. So on the opposite side of that, God needed to do something, right? So he created what are called the Lydians. So this is kind of a bigger picture to everything.
Yeah.
So the Lydians were basically souls in purgatory that could fight. You know what I mean? They're part of normal life. So they actually were more people who did bad things or were soldiers or whatever. So they're more of a fighting race of angels. And that conflict is happening in the afterlife. And that's where the Rakels come from. And so that's the Templars have been fighting them whilst the rest of the world hasn't known they existed. So there's historical fiction to this to a degree. I'm a huge fan of the Templars, and I'll be adding in sections of their story, my fictional take on what happened to them after they got betrayed by Philip, King Philip. So that when Philip betrayed them, I'm kind of throwing it in that maybe that's when the demons started to take over. All right. And so all of a sudden these religious knights are no longer valued anybody because, they want them destroyed. They've become too powerful. So they have to take off to North America. And that's where this branch of the Templars come from.
I had this story I wrote in high school that was the only Heaven and Hell story. It was a really super short story, and I'm not going to do anything with it. So if anybody hears this and wants to do anything with it, I'd be curious to see. It was basically just this guy, like this Christian guy believing in God, dies, and he goes to heaven, but hell's overtaking heaven. So instead of going into paradise, he's actually drafted into heaven's army. And so the idea was I wanted all these angels to look like Vietnam vets, like with flak jackets. I actually drew angels with like the term hellbound on the back of them and stuff. And so they were all, so the guy went there instead of going to heaven. It's like, well, here's your gun. Here's your, whatever, like, get out there and fight. And I know anybody hears that idea. I didn't know what else to really do with it, but I just thought, wow, that would be a predicament if you just got.
Just remember, if I make $1 million bucks, If I make $1 million,
there you go. Yeah, I know, right?
Bro, I'm just saying.
yeah, go for it.
But it's kind of the same. Well, these souls are taken out of purgatory and they fight, and if they survive and they do their job, basically they get redeemed into heaven. That's their whole selling point, right? They get out of purgatory. Yeah. So they're very manipulated. So it's not necessarily, they're not the happiest of angels. So when people call them angels, I'm always like, no, that's not an angel, that's a Lydian. So it's a very big discrepancy there. That now they're protecting heaven after being stuck being told they weren't good enough, right? So there's a whole bunch of little predicaments there to that world. But yeah.
So you're at 68%. You got 13 days ago. I think you're gonna make it. I don't think you're gonna have a problem. I think you're gonna make that gap.
I set it low, kind of like what we were talking about before. I wanted it. I was hoping to get funded early, but I wanted this to. I just wanted to pay for the printing. Was ultimately what I was thinking the printing was going to cost me. Was the idea, and then as you say, flip between the various different things. So, but yeah, I was hoping for more backers, but it is what it is. So far,
this is your second issue. How many more issues are you looking to go?
It's probably going to be about 8 more, 6 to 8. How I fit it in, and then the story will be done. And while I'm doing this, I'm also doing the Forsaken Future as well. So yeah,
gotcha. All right.
And on this one, what do you think is your favorite? Yeah, your favorite reward tier?
Oh, well, if it was someone on the the collector's edition, there's only ever going to be 100 of them. It's going to be foil, holochrome, so a foil cover front and back. It's going to have the extra. It's going to have all the cover art in the back as an extra add-in to it, and then of course, you're getting the card, the printed card, kind of with the decoder card here that I kind of have that kind of gives you. So what I did is throughout the comic, there's hidden sections, hidden runes that you can find in there. And people love this, by the way, when I go to a con. People who are puzzle people, when they come, you give them something different. So it's a comic plus. There's some puzzles. A lot of people really react to that actually. Nice. I created the card, and then here's the trick part to it. Then to get the answers to the decoding of everything, you got to go to my website. So I created an ecosystem where I got them at the con with the puzzles. Now you go to my website to get the answers, and then you're going to see more stuff, right? So
very cool.
Nice.
Yeah. Very cool. Aaron, Aaron, where's the second issue, bro?
The second issue is literally, I can show you if you want me to share the screen. I have literally the last page to do. I'm on the last page. That's why I know. So I know excuses, right? So I got up. It's supposed to be coming. It's like literally, I'm on the cover now. I always do the cover last, and then but I don't know. I mean, the Noct. He's a barbarian. He's it's short for nocturnal. I like Halloween and I like barbarian, so I squished them together. Nice. So he's a barbarian in a Halloween land. And so each one is just kind of like each comic issue is a self-contained story. They don't intersect or interrelate at all. So you can read any issue. I don't number them. So I'm trying to encourage impulse buys that if you see, and that's why I'm kind of not doing alternate covers. So if you see a cover you don't have, you have a new story. That way, so that's why I'm trying to keep it. And I may have to do alternate covers, but I'm trying to figure out how to work around that. Because I don't want it, because if I number it, then people are like, well, I don't want to buy issue 2. So there's none of that. If you want to share the screen, I can show you issue 2 to prove to JD that I've done it.
No, I believe you. I mean,
I love the art style.
Listen, I got Jay here, and I break his chops enough. I figure I got to.
No, go for it. Yeah. So that's, and then on my store I also have the Godlings book, which is my graphic novel, and that's what the other issues have gone for. And that book is 40. That's my big 300-page omnibus book, and that whole thing is complete. And you can buy individual. I have 12 issues, so you can buy the issues individually, or you can buy a book, the whole book. And there's not going to be any sequel to that. And JD's read it, so he knows it's done. When it's done, it's done. Mm-hmm. And then I have 2 kids' books, which I need to reprint. But Noct is probably my ongoing series. I have 4 stories in my head right now. And I have more stories to come. I love Halloween. I love Barbarian, so I just squished them. That's my kids' books. I only have a few of those left. Most of the time, what I do is when I get my books, I just pay about $100 to print 25 of them and throw them in my house and throw them on my store. So I don't have a lot of stock. So when you get them, like I'll eventually reprint them, but I can't tell you when I'll reprint them. So, and then he's an alien wildlife photographer, the Roscoe character. So he goes to other planets and photographs aliens. Mm-hmm. And all of these are in my store. So you can just go to my store, Humphres Illustration. Humphres is my last name, one word, and you can buy any of these. I have all these in my house and stuff. So yeah, it's the whole book is set up like a wildlife journal. So he's like collecting stuff or whatever. So yeah. That's the name. And those are supposed to be the photographs he's actually taking, and then he messes up or whatever. And those are the individual issues of Golly. So if you don't want to do the book, you can that have all 12 issues on there. You have to go to the actual comic book to see the other issues. It's kind of a pain. So it only goes down to issue 9, but if you go up to the other thing that says comic books, it'll put up the other 10, 11, 12. I don't know why it does that. I tried to figure out. Now, if you go down, you'll see 10, and then there's a little 2, and then it says 10, 12. Yeah, I don't know why. And I can't figure out how to solve that. So, yeah.
It's in their websites. So,
yeah.
When do you expect the second issue to drop?
I'm hoping the second issue, I'm going to hopefully finish up in the next week or so. Probably like these, I'm hoping December or February. I just have to order them. It takes about a week or two from once I order them. Once they hit my house, then it's in. So yeah. So the second issue, I know I came in here to promote the second issue, and it's like, well, I didn't want to cut the date to hang out with you guys, so I had to explain. And JD has this like, why did you draw comics, man? You're always late. I'm just kidding.
Hey, listen, it could be worse. You could be here with us in New York.
That is true. I'm out of
Especially
Portland, Oregon, so I'm on the other flip side of the whole country.
Way to go, guys. Nice segue again, sir. But this is my book. This is New York versus the World. It's a zombie tale set in New York City after the apocalypse. Shit gets fucked up. There's 3 books, 69 pages of total content. We have issues 1 and 2 already printed up. We're looking to raise the funds to print up issue number 3. That's what this is about. Here's some previews for issue number 3. A couple pages getting down. We got our lead protagonist here, Bobby Lowe. He's somebody who's trying to earn his way and his family's way into the city by thinning out the herds of zombies before they hit the gates. So that way it's easier for them to take them out at the gates. He's known as a thinner. But the problem is that this is not just what the people who are trying to earn their way in for the families do, but there are also no prisons out there anymore. So you could be out there and there could be, convicts or people who killed people, mass murderers working alongside of you, killing zombies. This is our digital catalog. I have been making comic books for years. And these are some of the books that you can get in our digital catalog. There's a big discount for getting them. I think it's $70, $60, something like that. And I don't know, 5 or 6 of those books are free in the package. If you had decided to do them individually. So you're saving money on that. We got a couple t-shirts up in there. We got our zombie hunting season t-shirt, and then we got our t-shirt A, which is based on the alternate cover for issue number 3. And then we also have an enamel pin, a hard enamel pin, 1.5 inches. It can be added on to any physical reward for an extra $7. Then if you are a returning backer, you can, if you're a returning backer, you will get this holochrome trading card added to your reward at no extra charge, just for coming back. We don't have frequent flyer miles. We don't have that punch card for getting a 7th coffee for free. But I can say, hey, thank you for spending your money on me, and here's a little gift that's on me. If you are not a returning backer, you can add that on to your reward for an extra $5. Then we go into the creative team, who's part of the crew that put this all together. We go down. You got a little bit more on the story, where it's at, where it's been, where it's going. While we chose Kickstarter, what's going to be happening with the money, and then we have our stretch goals set up. I hope we could fund first, but then we got a couple trading cards that are added to your rewards at no extra charge. And then I said originally this is a black and white book, but if by chance we hit $4,500, this book automatically becomes a full color comic.
Nice.
Yeah,
that's a cool stretch goal.
Thank you. Thank you. So the books, the first reward is for $10. That is covering the cost of the comic and shipping. So, the book itself is about $5, and then shipping is just, a little bit more than $5. Is going to be in a hard mailer. And then, we've got all 3 books. Then we've got all 3 digital books. We got all 3 digital. We got all 3 print books. All print copies come with a digital copy included. You can get all of our number 1 books. You can get all 3 of these issues in print. You can get a holochrome book out of this. Holochrome covers seem to sell well. And a few other things. There's the T-shirt. So when you back the tier, there's not going to be a separate charge for shipping. The shipping is already baked in to every tier that is there.
All right, cool. You got another 6 days?
6 days and $1,400 to go. You want to talk about puckering the booty hole? That is what's going on right now. We got a lot of puckering going on over there, boys. Very tight, very tight, very tight.
Very tight.
But we're gonna grind it out. We're not one of those campaigns that always, hits the big bucks in the first 2 hours, like people like to say. Funded in 57 minutes. Listen,
like
as long as I hit, how much the hell it takes. Yeah.
Beautiful art. I love the art. Dude.
I actually really like it black and white. It's funny when you said the color. I said I was looking at the interior. I'm like, I don't know, man, color, but that's really sharp black and white art. When you get good black and white art that actually they know what they're doing, it's almost a shame to color it. But unfortunately, a lot of people like color, so it's one of those catch-22.
Well, there's 2 reasons we do it black and white. One is because the first zombie movie that I remember seeing was in black and white.
Yeah.
And you had the popular zombie series, which will remain nameless, was also in black and white.
Yeah. But I think it also
drama.
happens to horror.
It can
I
add
think
drama.
black and white always works well in horror comics.
Yeah.
There was a popular black zombie series.
Yeah. There was a popular
What?
one. There was a popular.
They made some sort of TV show out of it or something. I don't.
think so.
Really?
So, yeah.
Why would they do that?
Yeah.
Yeah, you wonder really.
Why wouldn't you do it?
I know.
One of those cable channels. Yeah.
One of those favorite shows? All right. Well, I just put this up real quick. This is my sign-up page for the Oswald Chronicles, The Light That Attracts, issues 1 through 4. I will probably be launching this on Tuesday. I just finished packing up. My prior campaign is all packed up, and I believe it's going to all ship out tomorrow. So, one down and another one to go. So, there we go with that. All right, gentlemen, this one ran a little long. So, Aaron, we're going to have to bring you back as a Coco, and we'll have you ask your question.
Definitely.
You're not going to get a chance to ask your question tonight, but in the future. So, anyway.
I had a really good one, too.
Sorry. All right, hold on to it. Damn it. Hold on to it. Anthony, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Christouart.com, or we're on Kickstarter right now as the 9 Sexy Tales of the Kitsune. Or just search Luminous Ages as well. We have a web comic for free. You can read some of the comics for free, luminousages.com. And I did find that original stuff, that some of the original art, I'm doing a lot of the black and white, all done with inks and watercolor. I have that's the Hakutaku as well.
Look at that. That's awesome.
I do have a nudie one here, but I don't think I can show it, so I'll leave it.
Oh yeah, YouTube doesn't like.
Yeah, be
YouTube
careful.
doesn't like boobs.
No, it doesn't. No.
And Jay's a little sensitive about that stuff.
This
This is true. If he's not
though.
showing his, he can't show nobody.
Thank you so much for having me on, and appreciate it. And if any one of you folks want to do cross promotion, I'm happy to schedule you in if we fit each other's audiences. Look, I'm being positive we're going to get funded, but I know what's up. I think Kickstarter's changed a bit, and people notice that it's a bit different to what it normally is. But is it the economy? I don't know. What do you guys think? Is it that, or have I launched too many books? I'd like to hear your perspective on it.
Honestly, I don't think. It's weird because I'm launching on Tuesday, so I don't know what the hell's going on at the moment. I launched my prior one. I did as well as I normally do, which I made $3,200. I don't make a lot of money, but I make some. My thing is I launch a lot though. That's my only thing. It's like I launch a lot because I have a lot of books in the back catalog that are just ready to go. I see it changing for a lot of people. I've seen everybody's down, but my wife just recently did a campaign. She raised more money on a single issue or a few issues than she has on any of her other campaigns, except for a trade, right? So it's a little weird. So I don't know exactly know what's going on. So I mean, it's just like different levels, because I don't think it's like guys like Matt Wagner or some of these other guys, some of the hot bigger names from, I guess, from Marvel and DC coming in, sucking up too much cash. I just think we as independent comics, we just have to get out there and just start bringing more people in and just showing them what value we're bringing to the table. And I think, because, when you hear the words Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones, if you're a comic book fan, you're going to know, what these men have done. They're in Grendel, Mage, Deadman, Batman. Both of them did Batman. And I mean, and they have had long runs and incredible runs, right? We don't have that stuff. We don't have that huge catalog and that huge, VC behind us, right?
Right.
But we're still creating our own stuff, and we just have to show people, get it out there. And that's the tough part, and that's why we're on this show, and that's why other people do other shows similar to this. Just got to go out there and hustle, man, and then just got to keep hustling. So, Aaron, where can we find you and your work, sir?
Oh, you can find me at Humphres Illustration at Big Cartel. That's my store. Humphres is Humphress. I have a weird spelling last name. And then my website is Humphres Illustration. That pretty much all covers my stuff. I do Facebook under the same name, Instagram under the same name, all that. It's funny. I was going to say the one thing I think Kickstarter, the kind of comment on why that is. Now, I could be completely off, but I've sometimes wondered that the speculative market from the 90s has moved its way into the Kickstarter market because of the collectability of the Kickstarters, because so much of the Kickstarter stuff is itching that, it's unique covers, unique things, the collectability. So you wonder if the speculative market is run into that, and just like what happened in the 90s, the speculative market is starting to drop. So instead of buying our books, people buying the books for them to actually read the books, to be interested in the story, they're buying it to collect it, to resell. And of course, what happened in the speculative market is nobody could buy the books to read, so nobody wanted to, buy those books. And so I don't know. I'm guessing, but sometimes when I see like the Bad Girl trend and some of the other collector stuff that happened in Indy in the Kickstarter, I see the same thing happen in the 90s, and it's almost like they're taking this replaced in the digital. Somebody made a comment that like a lot of the people who buy Kickstarters and stuff are people who are like into the collect, want to collect all the covers and collect all the things. And there's obviously, we all know there's a difference between a collector and a reader. A reader will collect, but a collector will collect to resell. And if nobody is interested in the product you're buying to resell, then that market's going to drop, and that could be what's happening. That's just a guess, and I have no idea because I don't do as many Kickstarters, but it may be a little bit about what's being pulled under. I don't know.
I mean, there are a lot of different factors. That could be one of them. Again, we heard the economy. That's a portion of it. Just people, just backing away. There's a lot of campaigns, a lot of good campaigns. And I think also, there's still this thing about people not fulfilling, because we still, how many campaigns do we know of that haven't fulfilled, right?
Oh, really?
Yeah. I mean, Matt Wagner and Kelly Jones, is funny. They at least warn you. They said, look, we got the book. We're doing a campaign. We're not fulfilling till probably like next September.
Right? Being honest, at least. Yeah.
Right. But they're telling you, though. I mean, I can live with that. You understand? Be honest with me. Tell me.
Because they finish stuff. I mean, they're professionals that have finished stuff, so they will do it. Just give them time. Yeah.
Correct. And I think what it is, they said that all the production, like their work is done. They're just waiting on coloring, lettering, editing, all that jazz. Yeah. And that's why it's just going to take so much longer. And then they're printing it overseas. So, so there we go. But anyway, Doran, where can they find you and your work? So,
yeah, whitefirecomics.com is probably the main spot. It's got pretty well everything I got going on there. It's a good starting spot. And I'm at Whitefire Comics pretty well everywhere else. Twitter, Twitch, X, and Instagram, etc., and Facebook, of course. So yeah, that's pretty well everywhere as you can find me. And of course, my Kickstarter. Search Raquel on Kickstarter, and you should find it.
All right, nice, cool. Jay, where can they find you and your work, sir?
Unstoppablecomics.com. For me, you'll find all of our social media links there at the website. And for now, until next Saturday, not next Saturday, until this Saturday, you can find New York versus the World on Kickstarter. We still got 1,400 to go. So hopefully we make it.
You didn't say your line, bro.
Which
Ooh,
line?
lie.
All roads.
Yeah, I'm trying to change it, trying to come up with something else. You know, all the
You're
stars
gonna leave-
shine in one place. You know.
You're gonna leave that one to Marcus. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So anyway, my name is JD Calderon. You can find me here most Sundays because I do take them off on occasion. Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, theoswaldchronicles.com, talltalesonline.com, all those different places. And yeah, and on Tuesday, you will be able to find the Oswald Chronicles on Kickstarter once again. So thank you everybody for being here. And just remember, everybody, thank you for the guys who are here. Rich, Zackary, you guys are awesome. You're always welcome back. Just remember, everybody, in the show notes is that all the links to all these campaigns. So click on those links, buy some books because these are some awesome creators and they definitely deserve your support. All right.
Yeah.
And I mean, and the thing is look, we all love Spider-Man. We all love Superman. You understand? But share the love. There's other things out there, other worlds to explore. And these
baby.
These people, it's in their brains. So go get them. All right. So thank you so much. Everybody have a great night, and I'll see you soon.
Later.
Thank you.
Later.
Thanks all.